Hello YouTube. This video is about demons. Who they are, what they are, or if they even exist. We've all experienced things that we can't understand or refuse to believe. But for now, we'll put religion just here for a second to the side. The best thing I can do now is tell you my story. A few years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I was a normal Saturday. Went to the flea market and I, grabbed a few items. Just normal Saturday, normal day. But this one particular day, I saw a Bible in the pile, and I decided to, pick it up and maybe leave it in the car, as a, keepsake, or things we do. Bible in the on our countertop, so we have Bibles in our cars, we have Bibles in hotels. We leave them as display models. So I grabbed this Bible, and a friend of mine saw me pick it up, and he started to read from the Bible. Started reading Proverbs and Psalms, and just talking about the different, let's say, characters in the Bible. Caught my interest. So, I threw the Bible in my trash bag with the piles of my other things I had, and took it home. Got home around, let's say, 6 or 7 o'clock that evening, and I pulled the Bible out of the bag and started to read through a few of the chapters. Not much, a few lines up here and there. Started reading the book of Job. Didn't get very far, just verse 1, verse 2. After a little while, my eyes got tired from reading. How it happens when your eyes get tired from reading when you don't read too much. So I went upstairs, and I was a little more compelled to read more. So I laid in the bed and read a little more. By then it was around 8 o'clock. Eyes got tired again. Closed my eyes for a sec, just to stop the burning. Started reading again. Eyes got tired again. So I decided then to, that was enough. So I went to get up, and when I got up from the bed, the house just wasn't, it was my house, but it wasn't my house anymore. That doesn't really explain it well, but it was a different version of my house, just darker and more like open. So I got up, well, I was already up, so I walked to the hallway, and when I went into the hallway, there were all these creatures. Mind you, I can see the whole house. I can see the upstairs, I can see the downstairs, I can see the basement. It was just wide open and dark. And there were these monsters, demons, or call it what you want. And they were just not kind of surrounding me, but just in the house and in the kitchen and in the living room. And they were just like standing there. And they started making this hissing noise all the way around. So they hissed one after another, like, and I stood there, like, not being a wimp or a punk. I stood there, but in the hissing I could hear what they were saying, and they were saying that he's reading the book. He's reading the book, like, one after another. Like for some reason, I can kind of translate the hissing noise. So they were just saying, he's reading a book, he's reading a book, he's reading a book, he's reading a book, like, all through the house, one after another. And I stood there, and I smiled, kind of chuckled, and weirdly enough, I got into the shower and got dressed. Um, because that night I was going out, later that night, so I got dressed, got in the shower, got dressed and everything. And weird, stupid, or just not believing what I have seen. So go back into the hallway, and it didn't stop. So maybe to give a brief description of how they looked, the one beside me was just a shadow that was just a shadow figure beside me. On the banister there was like a creature. If I had to describe, let's say if you take I don't know, like if you take a billy goat legs and hooves and body, and made that billy goat stand straight up, like a little hunched over, that would describe more so how they were standing. Uh, the figure of their body, and their arms were short and what you would expect from an animal, kind of sticking out and curved down. Face, can't really describe the face too much, but let's say kind of like a horse, a thin horse type face, and then horns that started here and came back over their head and spread out like that. All different sizes. Some were really small, some were mid-sized, some were really tall. So, like I said, I laughed it off. Thought it was like, like we all would think, bad trip. I don't know. I don't use drugs, but some kind of trip. So I left the house at that point. I don't know. At that time, I was going to the club. So I went to a club that night. Stayed there for a while. Probably didn't come home that night. I don't think if I came home that night. I'm not sure. Maybe I did. I don't know. Probably not. Most likely not. Told a friend about it at the club. And then laughed it off. Thought it was funny. No big deal. The next day, I think I stayed out. So I think a part of me knew that it wasn't really funny, because I didn't go home until maybe the next day around 5. Yeah, around 5. So I go home and I open the door. And when I opened the door, it was like you ever go to a bus terminal, or maybe I don't know, like a mall or a supermarket where people are just like rushing towards you, like maybe like a New York traffic jam type thing going on. So as I walk in, it's like they all just like swoosh. It's like a whirlwind of figures just coming at me, but I couldn't see them anymore. It's just I could feel that full energy, and you could like feel the individual, uh, whatever they were, coming at me. And I stood by the door, and I just at the time knew it was real. So I closed the door and I, ran out. And that's kind of when it hit me.